Okay, so the next stage we're going to look at is using captions. So captions are really useful for putting different charts, data analysis, and particularly in data sciences or any of the areas really where you can give visual impact of research and things that you've found out and you want to give to your reader. So let's have a look and see how we manipulate and use these. First of all, I'm going to put the show and hide on again. And you can see here, we've gone to analysis on page 10. It's there. You can see it's on page 10. Remember, we use the find and then the pages. And this is a good way of getting around the long documents. So I'm going to place my cursor in there. Now, in the folder that you have in the files, you will have some captions to use. So I'm going to go into the pictures, into this device. So you will be finding them wherever you're working, because you would have downloaded them to use them there. And I'm going to go into the desktop in my case, because it's just easier when you're demonstrating. And I'm going into the area that I've got these. I just come down a little bit. There's a project lectures. Okay. So Word for reports. And then in here, in the captions folder, I've got some captions that we can use in this document to demonstrate the things that we can do. Okay, so the first one I'm going to pop in is figure 1, which makes sense really. So I'm going to pop that one in. You can see that it's gone in. I'm just going to fix it by popping an enter between that paragraph there and the actual caption. This caption, when it's popped in, it is a hard edge caption. It doesn't float. It's not being wrapped, in other words. So the only way to manipulate it with regard to alignment is to use the buttons on the home tab, unless we do wrap it. Notice the page break is still under there. We need to keep an eye on our page numbering, because this can change according to what we do. Okay, so at the moment we're still on 10 and the one before is 9. So every now and again we'll just have a little look and check that that's still okay. So then we can put in our caption 2. So below that, if we just choose the paragraph there, and we could put in our caption 2. However, if we put in our caption 2, it is better actually, if we know we're going to put a number of figures, captions in, to actually deal with the first one first and make sure that when we insert more captions, they will be automatically labelled. In other words, it'll have figure 1, figure 2, or figure A or figure B, whichever one you decide to use. So on this caption, I'm going to do that first and get it ready for putting in more figures. So I'm going to right click. You can go into the reference tab up here. You've got the same feature just there, insert captions. So I'm going to right click, insert caption. Before I do anything with regard to the label, I'm going to use this feature here called auto caption. This will enable me to put extra captions or figures in this case, and they will automatically update according to how I've labeled the first one. So if we go into their auto caption, there's a bitmap there, and it is a bitmap in a sense. There are other things to be aware of. So if you're going to use tables in your document, which I will be, there's also a table feature there. Okay, so we've got the bitmap on for images, pictures, and then it sets it up, and then we can actually go in and do our caption itself. So in here, I could change this to figure. I look in here to find what I've got. I may not have these, so I'm just going to delete these because these are things that I've made earlier. And I want to show you what you will actually be able to find when you go into the drop down. And it'll be these three default areas that you can find for your captions initially. And we'll see how we create new labels in a little while. So I'm going to use the figure. I don't change the numbering here. I go to the numbering on here, and I'm going to stick to figure 1. I think it works well with my my data. So I'm going to OK that. I could put some text on it, but I'm not going to. So the next one I'm going to pop in is I'm going to place my cursor, go into the insert tab again, find my next caption that I've got ready, and I'm going to put in figure 2. So now what should happen, if I just bring that break down, when I actually do a caption, insert caption, it automatically comes up ready with figure 2. And I could put something on this if I wanted to label it. Some captions you do, some have really long labels. You can change the formatting things in those as well. So you could, whatever you need to do, you can pop on there. When I OK, that pops in as well. So if I now went up to my table of contents and table of tables and table of figures, I'm going to pop up to here. It's easier to work around that. I'm going to, after here, I'm going to put in table of figures. I can make sure that the heading's the same as I have on the table of contents, the main headings. And these, if I look in here, are UN heading 1. So I'll have that ready. So I'm going to go down to my table of figures, click in there, and then I'm going to find my UN heading 1. There it is. I'll come underneath it. And now we're actually going to insert them. So back to the References tab. We briefly looked at this area here when I talked about using the insert caption, and I talked about the insert table of figures. So I'm going to go for this one. So once again, you do have lots of template formats that you can use in here. We're just going to do the from template, use the leader dots that's available, and we'll make sure that this is on figure. And then when we OK, we pop that in, and you can see that the two figure 1, figure 2 captions that we put in have already been added. So we go back down to our page 10. Let's check that number in just briefly. Pull that over here. And you can see that things are still okay. And they're okay because we're still working within that section in. We've not got any breaks with regard to a next page break section. So I'm going to pop in another one. I'm going to play around with this one and see what happens. So we're going to go back to my insert and let's do figure 3. So into the picture again. There's our figure 3. Pick that one up. And there it goes. So I'm going to actually move this around because I want to sort of make this page less space really that's going on. So I'm going to wrap this figure 3. So I'm going to use square. So now I can move it up and I could move it there. And then I could do an auto caption. So back onto insert caption, and it's gone to figure 1. Because I've manipulated things. So let's say it's gone to figure 1 and I just put data on this one. And it's below and I OK. Right, so I've got my figure 1 data. And you see how it's changed figure 1, figure 2 and figure 3. So when I go up to my table of contents again, I wouldn't keep doing this all the time. But just while you're learning, I think it's good to just have a handle on things and just keep an eye on things and how they're going. So I'm going to right click, and this time I'm going to update field. Now, if I just update the page numbers, nothing happens. But if I update the actual entire, then the change that I've just done is automatically built in. And you can see how the things have changed. They're all on page 10, but they've manipulated them and changed things. These are links, hyperlinks, so I can use Control and click to go back to where I was and working. And you can see that I've got some different figures in there, and it's counted this one as the 1 and that one as 2. Just something just be aware of. Let's say we wanted, for some reason, wanted to manipulate this to be a different number format. So let's say this one, because it's over here, it's a bit odd. Let's change the auto number format. That's the field. When you click on an area in the auto caption, you can see it's a field because it turns grey. Let's say we wanted to do this as an A because it's slightly different to the others. So if we right click on it and we go to edit field, if you can't remember this, just think about there's not really a lot going on. All I can do is OK things through, or I had the option of this button here, so I'm going to try it. That looks good. So I'm going to use the capital ABC. If I don't add that to that field, add to this field here, it doesn't work. So if you do it and it doesn't change, you know that's probably what you've done. So if you do add it to the field here, and you can see it sitting there, and you OK it through, and you can see it again there, and OK, and then that will actually change to a different number format. So you can have the odd one for reasons that you want. to make things different. And then you could go back, we could see that change in the update again, entire, and you can see that now it's become a figure A. Now, so let's go down to here again. And let's look at the next page down. Let's pop some charts in. A couple of little things we can do here. So let's bring this down. We can put, we can still call them figures. You don't have to call them charts. You could create a chart of charts, but normally they just stay as figures, and then they're called different chart names for representing different data. So we're going to go in this device. Always check whatever you're doing with regard to how things are acceptable within your school, and make sure that you abide by those. So we're going to pop chart 1 in. There we go. And this chart, unfortunately, has come out as the wrong way round. So if we click on the chart, which is already clicked on like that, and we go into the picture format, there is a rotate feature, which is really easy if you use it. You can rotate, and it's probably best to rotate. And you can see that what it will do, depending on how you hover, and we have it so that it's sitting straight. We could also put another chart in. Or we could do something like this. We could go to insert, we could go into the table, and we could put in an Excel spreadsheet, as very minor Excel spreadsheet that works in Word. So it comes up with a framework around it. So it's an object within. Just double click on it again and it becomes active. Cannot act a bit wobbly. So we can start to type into it. One sec. Let's try that, just try that again. Can do this, it's because I've been messing around. Back into here. So once the frame's on it, well, there you go, you can start to type in just like that. So it doesn't always go the way it did with me, because I was clicking around. So you could put information in here that you want to do yourself. You could put like 1, 2, I'm just making these up, 3, and you could get some data that maybe you just wanted to add at the end and you didn't have any particular charts ready, but you wanted to put it in. It might be something you want to put into the appendices or something like that. So you've got these things going on, and then you can actually make sure that these, if you want to bring them in, double click on it, make sure you got the frame again. Well, let's try again, nice and gentle. Not happy, but we can pull them in still. And you can see how that data can be just the size that you want it, and then you can pull it out and show that data accordingly within your document. It's going to be a lot tidier than that, but that just gives you an idea of sort of things you can do. Just delete that. Other things you can do, if you go into the table again, you go into that area, you've got things like quick tables. So you could put, if you had a schedule or something and you wanted to put something on there, you've got these quick schedules, and then you can actually make these captions on these as well. So we could put a caption on here. So we're going to insert caption. We're still sticking with figure. We're happy with that. We could put chart, blah, 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 and okay. And then this one we could also caption. Let's have a look. Just click on it there. Might be better to go there. That's clearer when you can see it. That's got a figure 6 as well, and that could be a schedule or something that you wanted to bring into your and then that of course can be updated again, which we can do at the end. And if we did decide to keep the data one, if we pop something in, we have to make sure that when we pop it in, so if I've decided to do a data spreadsheet really badly, but I did it, I'm still doing it, I'm not going to give in. As you say, you're in the middle of things and you've got to get it right, get it done. Make sure that you do all the little things. So you could put, like I did earlier, 1, and we could make it even easier. I'm just thinking if the autofill works, just to make life easier, even in here it just double it, so it doesn't actually do a sequence. But if we do that and then we right click, it might do, no, it won't do a fill sequence, so we'll do a 3. Clever, but not that clever. And then we can just put some data in. And we could twist through some more and decide that we are going to use it this time. And then we could bring in the, if you click into the data, you've got your double-sided arrow, drag it in as close as you can get without covering your data, and then come away. And then you could caption that as well. So it's getting hold of these things before we can caption them. There you go. And then that could be a figure 6. Pop that in there. We've written something about it. And then when we go all the way back to our captions in here, if we update them entire, you can see how it pops all that stuff in. And if I went back down into here and I decided to delete this one and take out the caption as well, of course, tidy it all up into it's in my data, and then back to the automated feature that will now automatically take out what I've just done. Okay, if you do an update entire, that, as you can see, has gone. So then we've got some other diagrams and things that we could put in. There is a final document on this that you will see, but this is when I'm demonstrating. I don't do it exactly, but it can give you a goal, if you like, or an aim to work towards, so that you've got a feeling of what you're doing. Just something just to, if we go into implementation, it's a bit further up. Number 7. Just check what page I'm on. It's 13, so here. So we've got the, I will do it on the testing, I think that's probably a good idea. Tables. So let's say we wanted to insert a table. Do you notice how it's not giving me the option? I click in there now and go on there. It does. So if I highlight something, that suddenly greys out. So let's pop a couple of tables in, not anything big deal. Same as before. So we've got a test 1. And then we could, if I copied that, let's just pretend it's another table, and I put that in, Control V. There's no labeling, nothing. So I'd have to label each one just like before, individually. So once again, I'll highlight the table. I'm going to insert caption, make sure it's set up for tables. So I'm going to go into the auto caption here. It's alphabetical, so it should come up, but it's word table, so that always throws people. I've done that. Pop the caption on. So now we can actually do it. Now we've set it up, and we're going to put it into, we're going to make these tables. So we're going to put table, and we're going to have table, let's have numbering. Yeah, let's stick to the A. I think I like that. And then okay. So that now has a table. If I put in another one, let's pretend this is a new table that I'm inserting, Control V, and you can see what I'm sort of getting at. So now, each time I put in a new table, I will get that coming up, and that's good. So then if I do decide to delete a table, let's say we delete this one, and we tidy it up, and then we go back up to our captions. I haven't even put it in yet, so I've got to remember to do that. So now I'm just going to pop in table of tables, bring that down, back to the reference tab. There's our insert tables again, right alongside insert caption. I'm going to pick table. It automatically goes to it sometimes, but just be careful that it does. Make sure it does. And you've got the right one. So we click in OK. There's our tables, and we've got A and C. So if we go back down to where we have our tables, if I put a new one in here, you can see how it's changed. ABC is quite happy to change that for us. I could even put another one in. It's gone to D, and then back up to where our table of tables are. Right click, update field, entire, and then you'll see that they all come out of me. So it's a matter of making sure that you use the auto caption feature in order to make these automatic. If you need to label them, then that's fine. You can do that. I'm just doing a very quick way of changing things in that respect. So you're updating these automatic features just in the same way as you automatically updated the table of contents. Okay. The final thing that I would like to look at is when we try to change a page into landscape, so it can get tricky. And I talked about pagination or page numbering quite a lot. So I'm just going to click and jump to page 13. So if we look at our page numbering across here, I'm just going to get rid of the styles. You can see that it's still quite going in sync, and it goes all the way to 18. And then when we get here, do you remember we had this section break next page so that our appendix could have separate page numbering of its own. And then again, this one has an A one, this is a B one. So this is the reason these here are allowing us to do that. So let's say that we get to, let's look at page 17. And let's say that we want to put in a landscape page because we've got quite a large diagram or detailed diagram that we want to put in. So this is the page 17 that we have to try. It's got 14 there, one sec. 15, 16, this is it, 17. Okay, we use this one. So I'm going to just click in this page. So we're going to isolate this page. So in order to do that, we need to take this onto the next page. So we'll do a Control and Enter, and that's automatically gone onto the next page, and then everything else we'll have as well. So we've got this in here with a page break, and we've got the page before. So what I'm going to do to keep this tight is I'm also going to put in a continuous break. So I'm going to into the layout, into there, and I'm going to use this continuous break along with the page break. And you can see this page now is completely free, and that one isn't. So in order to keep this isolated, if I use this right now, and I went to orientation just up here, and I did landscape, before I do that, I'm just going to bring it down so you can see what it's doing a little bit better visually. And so if we go into here and I do landscape, on that page, it does everything in landscape. And the reason is that we've only separated one page. So Control and Z, and we're back to here. This page also needs to be separated. So what we're going to do is we can put one at the front of here, or we can put one at the end of the diagram. So let's just put one here. So we're going to put in a section break, and I'm just sort of like, we're going to try it and see what happens. And you can see that's gone to 14, so we really need to get rid of that because that's not what we want. So we're tidying up as we go along. We're keeping an eye on those numbers. See how we've got 17 to 17? And then this is changing. And that's because of this page break here. So that could change things, but don't worry, let's have a look. So we're popping back into here again, and let's try that orientation landscape. Still doing it. And the reason is, as probably a lot of you can see, Control Z, is that it's this page here where we're putting the diagram that we need to isolate. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to take, that one's okay. Yep. So we've undone and we've taken out that continuous. So I'm going to put the diagram in first. So this is our page we're isolating. I could put a section break in there to isolate it. We've got one here. So let's put the diagram in first. So let's insert, go and find the diagram. It might be easier to actually visually see it as well. Let's have a look, see what we got. We've got diagram one. Let's pop this one in. So you can see that that's not affecting that page. That's turn of 17. So it's changed slightly because it's got 17 pages instead of 18. And the thing is, what we need is we need to isolate it at the front as well. So we're going to put in a page break. And we're going to put in a continuous section break. And that's now been broken off. Let's just get rid of just this numbering that comes up. Okay, so we can bring that down again. Right, so we've got plenty of room now. These are all okay. Our page number has gone up, but don't worry, we're going to fix that in a moment. So you can see there. And that's just tickety-boo in there, so we just need to change that as well. So now we go into the page, click in, and we go to the orientation landscape, and then it works on the diagram. That section is taken over onto its own page, so we can delete that, and it's still staying okay because we've got our break and our section break, then our diagram, and at the end of the diagram, before we start the next page, we also have it again. And in fact, you probably don't even need it there like that.